Hey, what's up, nerds? Paul at Radio Free Hammer Hall, and today we're just doing a little bit of a hobby update because I haven't just kind of sat down and chatted with you guys in a while. So, thought I'd let you know what's kind of going on in my hobby life and all of that. Um, for some people, this whole COVID-19 thing has been um, like a big boon to their hobby ability. They've just had a lot more time to do things. For me, I unfortunately have been a lot busier with managing kids and all of that stuff. So I haven't had as much time as I wanted to. And, also struggling with medical issues. So that takes up an unfortunate amount of time as well. Um, so within, my hobby journey, right now, I'm at four different armies. I've got my Cities of Sigmar, which was formerly Free Guild, which was formerly the Empire. I have my Skaven. I have Caradron Overlords, and my Nurgle. Um, and I'm getting to a place where Nurgle really feels like it's my primary army. And that's the one that I'm interested in playing the most. It's the one that I'm interested in list building with the most, and theory crafting and hobbying. All of like the different aspects of the Warhammer hobby all really just kind of intersect at Nurgle for me. So um I've really kind of decided to throw myself a lot more into hobby projects associated with that, and really dedicate a lot more of like my gameplay to that as well. My Cities of Sigmar army, I think, is that was my first army, and it's all fully painted, and I just want to keep it around. Um, I really don't like it has like nostalgia value to it. My Skaven, I really like Skaven. That's probably like my secondary army, like the next army that I like to play the most. Um, it and it's very different from Nurgle, so it's a good like if I feel like changing gears, I can go play Skaven and be happy. And then I have my Caradron Overlords army, which originally um, I really liked their second edition book. And so I picked up the army. And at the time, it was like this really crazy puzzle, sort of. Like it was hard to fit all of the things into a list that you wanted to. And list building was a constant like adjustment of like one thing over here and get one thing over there and scooch room here. And now with the points changes, it feels like it kind of got blown wide open, and list building doesn't feel like as fun of a thing. And the army also just kind of feels like a tier one army now. And I don't necessarily want to be that guy that's like, oh, I just don't want to play the good army. Um, but part of it really is I don't want to be the army that everybody's gunning for. I don't want to be the army that everybody's prepared for. I would much rather run a lower tier army like Nurgle that people aren't as familiar with, and it's going to do unusual things. They're not necessarily prepared for it, and it's going to give you a lot more interesting of a game. So I'm currently in a holding pattern with my Caradron Overlords. I stopped painting them. Um, There, the army is definitely not fully painted yet. I honestly wasn't even really enjoying painting them that much. Um, and it, I'm not sure why. It just felt like a slog, and it wasn't even that many models. So, um, I can paint Nurgle stuff all day, and it feels great. But painting dwarves for some reason just wasn't doing it for me. Um, so but because of the pandemic timing and the timing of me acquiring that army, I haven't actually put them on the table yet. So before I make a decision about like whether or not I'm even going to keep that army, I'm going to give it its due and actually play the army a bit before I make a decision. Um, Cities of Sigmar, I've really been struggling with because it's weird. I like the book and I like my free guild stuff, but I don't really like my free guild stuff in that army. And it's it's this weird thing because getting the Cities of Sigmar book was like really exciting. To finally be getting this book for the army that I loved, and then I got the book and it's like, oh, this book isn't really designed for me. Um, the thing that seems like the obvious best thing to do is basically running this like cosmopolitan sort of army force where you're playing a little bit of elves and a little bit of dwarves and a little bit of humans and um blending together all of these things. And at some point I did start acquiring some other parts of the Cities of Sigmar army, and then I kind of said to myself, what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm really like buying a new army at this point. I'm not playing the army I like. So I think what I'm going to basically be doing going forward is playing that army for fun, when I feel like breaking it out. And other than that, it's maybe waiting for the next edition, maybe waiting for a supplement to the Cities of Sigmar book. Um, I don't think we're ever getting new model releases for Free Guild, so it's just a matter of um, how long it even sticks around. Um, uh, it's going to come out for fun now and then. I don't think the builds that I would make with it and play with are all that competitive. Um, and the stuff that I would want to play, I think is like not actually that much fun to play on the tabletop. Like I would love to play like a whole bunch of Demigryph Knights and all of those sorts of things, but the reality is like setting up charges for Demigryphs is a pain in the ass. And if you use like the Demigryph battalion in Hammerhall, like everything revolves around your griffin, and you really want to use your griffin as a hammer, but if your griffin dies, the whole battalion falls apart, and it's just not. It's frustrating, is what it is. It's very frustrating. Um, I have had a thought to try and run it a little bit more like Skaven, um, where I'm running big blocks of infantry that I'm using something to make them battle shock immune, and um, using those to flood the board, and then have other hammers and strong shooting to deal with the other threats that are going on. Um, that hasn't really kind of come together yet. I'm still having fun kind of like brewing lists for this because it's like I want it to work so badly, but I just can't figure out the combination to make the things work that I want work. On the other hand, devoting myself to Nurgle as I have, um, like I have like a million list ideas. I could just go, if our local game stores were open and we were out there gaming on a regular basis, I could bring a new Nurgle list to the table every game for months and not play the same list twice. Like I've just got all of these ideas rolling around. I'm working on a big expansion to my force right now. I've got a whole bunch of new Puscoil Blight Lords. I've got 15 new Blight Kings that I picked up. I got Chaos Knights and Chaos Warriors, and I am reviving my old Chaos Marauder project that I started a long time ago and then just kind of dropped because Marauders weren't that good, but they're good now. And so I have all of these Marauders that were getting converted out of Flagellants that I'm going to eventually return to that project. I don't know personally how much I really like Marauders, even though I know they're good. So I don't know when that project is coming in. It's not a high priority. Um, but I'm just at this point. I'm excited about Nurgle. I'm excited about the Slaves to Darkness Nurgle. I'm about to go pick up the Slaves to Darkness book to play Nurgle in Slaves to Darkness. Because I like some of the choices and abilities that come in there. And I feel like I'm still, if I'm marking everything Nurgle, I feel like I'm still playing Nurgle, and a lot of the units are performing the same way. Um, I'm just doing it kind of under a different banner, and that's fine. Um, and then allying in Nurgle units, I think, is also really good in that army. So, anyway, um, yeah. So I'm moving on to, I think, really collecting Nurgle as well, trying to be completionist and have everything. Um, at this point, I'm out of the Maggotkin book. I'm missing one of the Magath Lords, uh, Epidemus, and the Glotkin. And I would like to do a melee build of a Great Unclean One as well. And then I would have 3 Great Unclean Ones, and I can run the Thricefold Befoulment list. Um, that would be really cool. It just seems like a fun list. It seems like it's pretty good. So that is out there as a possibility. I'm, once I really kind of changed gears and realized how much I was enjoying Nurgle, it really revived my hobby life. And it feels like this is like the direction that is going to be good for me. And so I'm going to be doing a lot more Nurgle content, I think. I am working on a video right now. Hopefully, it will be out relatively soon. Um, that's sort of like a beginner's guide to starting a Nurgle army. Because I see, in like the Maggotkin Facebook group, like I see like beginner questions all the time, and I would love to just have a video that I can refer people to be like, listen, this is going to answer most of the questions that are going to come up for you. Like, what units are good? What battle line should I use? How many feculent gnarl maws do I need? Like all of the questions that just they get asked and answered over and over and over again, and it would be nice to just be able to go like, here, this video is going to answer your question, and it's going to answer like 15 other questions that you didn't even know you had. So that is out there on the docket. The other kind of news, we're trying to bring back Warhammered. That was a show that we were doing for a while. It was most Friday nights that we were doing it. It's going to come back in a slightly different form than it used to, because the original concept was basically get drunk and talk about Warhammer. And now it's uh for various reasons, there's a lot less alcohol in everybody's lives that is associated with it. A lot of our guests didn't drink, and so it was very frequently just me and Dez getting blackout drunk and talking to people that were stone cold sober, and like we had fun. But we want to keep the same kind of vibe, but bring the show back and have it be a little bit less about, boozing and Warhammer, and have it be more just about Warhammer and taking a bit of a different angle on Warhammer, I think. it definitely is going to be me and Dez as the previous incarnation of Warhammered was. Also trying to bring in Josh Keel from Masterpiece Miniatures, who's been on my channel a number of times. Kind of tried to do a show with him a couple of times. That didn't quite get off the ground, but I think that if we get the three of us together, it could be a winning combination. Excuse me. Um, so it's just a matter of getting people's schedules together and planning and all of those sorts of things. Because we're all busy adults with many important things to do, and kids and jobs and all of the important crap. So I think that's about it for now. I've got, I'm looking at my painting desk in front of me right now. And I've got um, a bunch of Blight Kings, a bunch of Chaos Warriors, some Puscoil Blight Lords, a Magath Lord, um, bits everywhere, just all Nurgle stuff. If you can see behind me, I actually worked on cleaning off my table as well to hopefully get some games in at home at some point. If the pandemic ever ends or gets better. Thankfully, I live in Connecticut and we have probably, if not the best, one of the best responses so far. Like our numbers are really good. So we're, um, I actually just saw a post from my FLGS today that like they're finally to a point where they're like ready to make plans to start having gaming in the store again. And they're just working on what that's actually going to look like. They got clearance from like the whatever health and safety organization they needed to do that. So they've got restrictions, so they're going to have to come up with a plan. But at least for us here in Connecticut, it looks like we are on the upswing with COVID, and it's gonna start getting a little bit more back to normal soon. I know a number of people that I play with that are fine with playing in each other's basements. I know I'm fine with that. It's just a matter of coordinating schedules and stuff. That's always difficult, and it's a little bit less fun for us when it's not like in the store, because our store is our club, right? And we go in and you might have like a game that you set up with somebody, but like there's 5 other people hanging out and you're all chatting while you play a game, or there's 2 games going on next to each other and everybody's kind of bantering in between the tables. And there's people over at the painting table painting, and somebody pops in to buy something and talks for 10 minutes. And if you are just like you and one other person in a basement playing a game, it's a much different vibe, and it's not the same sort of like culture that we've really fostered in our group. And because of COVID, we don't want to have like 10 people over at somebody's house, like maybe one person's okay, both wearing masks and stuff, hanging out in your basement. But, it's, we want to keep everything healthy and safe as much as possible. Yeah. So with kids getting back to school soon, I should have more time to hobby and more time to do videos. I definitely want to do more videos. I've actually been looking at my YouTube analytics to try and see what videos have gotten the best responses from people, and to try and make more videos like those. That is partly the genesis of the Nurgle video that I'm working on now. Oddly enough, one of the most popular videos that I ever did was like starting Stormcast on a budget. it it's still getting views like more than a year later, and it's still like high up on my list of views. I don't know why or how. Um, it's wicked out of date, um, but a lot of people are still looking at it. So I'm hoping to make something for Nurgle that does the same sort of thing. Maybe do something for Slaves to Darkness, Caradron Overlords. Um, so anyway, I want to make more content that people like, as well as making content that I like. So finding that intersection of what am I interested in and what is my audience interested in is, I think, the important thing for me right now. That's what I'm aiming at. So that's kind of what's new going on with the channel and me hobby wise. Um, Not a lot new going on in the personal life. I got glasses. You might have noticed. They were like life changing. Even though the prescription is not that strong, I didn't realize how bad my vision was until I put on a pair of glasses and was like, whoa, I can see things now. Um, I was having a lot of eye strain. I was having trouble reading. So, you know, one of the silly things that I have done since getting a pair of glasses is started just reading all of the Nurgle lore. Now that I have like an army that I really am devoting myself to, I'd like to know all the fluff behind it too. So I've been, I read all of the fluff in the Nurgle book. I read a whole bunch of the fluff in the core book on Nurgle and Realm of Life and the Season of War and all of those things. Um, might pick up some Black Library books on Nurgle related topics, like like the Glotkin. Um, that would certainly be a good book to grab. I think a lot of people have recommended that one. If anybody else has Nurgle lore recommendations, stick them down below. I know I've been talking to Doug from 2 Plus Tough, who's got some great recommendations on that stuff as well. Because fluff is like his thing. He's really good at it, and he actually did. Just want to give him a shout out. He did a great video recently where he basically took like a paragraph out of the Nurgle Battle Tome in the fluff section and like did like a 20-minute video on that, like cross-referencing to other sources and like what was going on with that. It was basically like Nurgle's invasion of Greywater fastness and all the things that happened as a result of that, and like how Nurgle is basically the reason that the area around Greywater fastness is a wasteland. Anyway, that I thought that was cool. So check out 2 Plus Tough. As always, it's weird to spruik a channel that's so much bigger than mine, but it's funny because I actually started my channel long before he did. Well, not that long. I mean, Age of Sigmar's been around for like 5 years. But I remember his channel starting and thinking it was really good and like directing people to his channel like when he was first starting. So I don't know, I guess pat myself on the back. Maybe I was part of him being successful. But he puts out some great content, so definitely check that out. And he's a super cool dude. Doug is an upstanding human being. What else? Did the Death Nut challenge with Mr. Mephisto. I still have my leftover Death Nuts. That was a lot of fun. Yes, I really did eat the same nuts that Meph was eating. Yes, he reacted poorly and I did not. I don't know what it is. I just have I think I've just burned my taste buds. Like, if spicy food just doesn't do anything to me anymore, and I didn't realize to what extent it was until I ate a 13 million Scoville peanut and was like, huh, that's kind of spicy, and wasn't like about to throw up. The only adverse reaction I really had to it was, maybe like a half hour later, when I was like going to bed after the show, I was like, "Oh my god, what's wrong with my stomach? Oh my god!" It felt like I was like, it felt like the spiciness was like burning holes in my stomach lining. That was like the only negative response that I really had to it. And I popped some antacids and was fine within a few minutes. So um, that was a lot of fun. It was cool to be part of the Rantathon, raising a lot of money for mental health awareness. And that's something that I personally really care about. I was on there for a 2 hour segment, which you can check out on Mr. Mephisto's channel. Um, was hanging out with him and Maroc Wolf. Maroc, another person that everybody should go check out. He does some really unique and excellent content on specifically on like sculpting with green stuff. Um, there's virtually nobody out there that is doing tutorials on how to do good green stuff sculpting besides Maroc, and his stuff is really good, and he is a very talented dude. Um, and another fine, upstanding human being that we should all go love and support. I don't know, just turning into a love fest right now, I guess. I think that's about all I've got for right now. I am going to depart for all of you here, and I'm going to go work on another video and some other hobby stuff, and I'm sure family stuff and all of that will be in there as well. So I will sign off for now, and I'll talk to you all later.